Good morning, precious. Wah, 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 wah. How you doing, baby? Happy Friday. And today on Coffee and Conversation with your girl, Shakenya. When you get a minute, go to that YouTube channel, Shakenya, and hit subscribe, guys. Look at some of the videos, and if you see anything that you like, just hit share, please and thank you. I'm trying to be famous here. So, guys, we're talking about a lot. I'm getting you ready for your test. And y'all know this whole segment, this your senior year, we're diving a lot into mental health. As you can tell, you know, some of y'all been tuning in and tuning out. I ain't been getting as many views, and I expected that. You know what I'm saying? If I'm talking about something juicy, y'all jumping on, you know, I'm talking about fire on sight, you know. But as soon as I get to talking about, hey, Niecy Pooh, as soon as I get to talking about the importance of mental health and I'm actually tying things together for you, you ain't trying to hear that. you ain't really trying to get fixed upstairs, not for real. You okay? You comfortable? Yeah, you have become comfortable with how you are and how things are. You have become complacent, and I ain't here to judge you. That's just an uncomfortable space for me to be in mentally, you know, so I just choose not to. But that's all up to you. Some people are okay with living how they living, damaged, you know. So, to each his own, right? So we're talking about the disorders that can come about when you separate a child from a parent and there's no abuse or neglect, meaning you have a healthy parent that's in this child's life. And you might not think that means nothing. You walking around here thinking that you the best parent because the child is in your care and you got the child siding with you and the child going along, hey, Brother Dion, with what you say, and got people convinced that this is what it is. Y'all got y'all fronts up as if it is what it is. You the better parent. How can you be the better parent when you exclude the other person that's supposed to be there? Why would you purposely raise your child on your own? Is it sympathy that you're looking for? Because you're a single parent, you doing it all yourself, and is that what you're looking for? You want the pat on your back because you ain't doing nothing but what you're supposed to do. But shit, you're supposed to have help, you know? So what is your real reason for excluding? So we're talking about how you failed your kids. Yeah, we talked about you removing your child from a parent who has never failed them. Yeah, can you think about how much that... I don't know why people don't think about this before they do it. Like, when I broke up with my ex, like, I could not stand him and his mama. Like, they made life so hard for me. And when I tell you they made life hard for me, I don't know what you would label a mother-in-law from hell, but a mother-in-law from hell, to me, is a mother that has not accepted the fact that she has a daughter or a son nowadays. But when your child marries, you don't lose a son. You gain a daughter or a son. You gain someone. You don't lose anything. But you got some parents out here that have the mindset that they losing them and they want to fight with you, or it's a tug of war. It's not a healthy send off. Here's my son. Take care of him. I'm here if you need me type situation. No, and that's what my situation was. You know. So yeah, she act like she was the woman. Fix it, Jesus. That's an inappropriate relationship to have with your son. Fix it, Jesus. So now we're talking about the manipulation tips from your 9th grade year. And now we're looking at over time, how your child has turned out now after another parent has been using these tips every time you drop them off. Every weekend, they in their ear. They telling them this. They telling them that. They spitting venom on your name. They talking bad about you in front of other people. They devaluing you. They belittling you. You are nothing to them over there. So disrespectful, right? All in front of this baby. Then you're giving the baby leeway to be and do the same. So therefore, now an inappropriate relationship has begun between this parent and this child against you. Fix it, Jesus. So all this damage, because all of this is not normal. It's not normal or natural. So that's why so much damage caused when you do this, right? You got to have reason. It's okay to take that child away if you have cares and concerns. It's okay if that parent doesn't have that child's best interest in mind. It's okay if that child is unsafe every time they go over there. It's okay if you got some legitimate concerns and reasons. And even then, you should try to find help for that parent so that they are in a position to still be. It's never a situation where you just totally cancel a parent out of a child's life. It's unnatural. The child needs both of y'all to be balanced. So, we've been talking about the psychological damage, and we on part 10 for the last week. And so I'm going to see if I can dip in a little bit and try to, because I got to put you in the headspace because I'm not licensed yet. I'm not a therapist. That's why I just can't go into different terms and terminologies and blah, blah, blah. So I got to try to put you in the headspace, I guess, a little bit, right? So let's see. Psychological damage caused when a child is separated. I'm going to try to stay on task because I wrote it all down. And there's no abuse or neglect, right? So, we talked about ways of failing. And we also talked about you apologize to your child once you realize you failed them in such a way. We talked about that over the week. We named out like 15 things that could possibly fail your child, but also, if used correctly, could be the foundations of a good parent. Yep, it's a good chance that if you have these 15 things put in place, nice little foundation, your child might turn out all right. And if both of y'all is doing these same 15 things, it's a good chance your child gonna stay on the straight and narrow. Yeah, it's a good chance that they're gonna stay in between y'all in this lane that y'all have built with these influences that y'all have that's like-minded like y'all. It's a good chance that your child is gonna stay in this tunnel. Only time the child peers off is if y'all got different values and different morals going on. Y'all got different stuff going on. So now it's jagged, now it's this and that. The kid can go this way, that way. It's like a maze now because y'all not on the same page. Y'all think, so it's constantly changing, it's constantly moving. Some of y'all is overlapping because you're competing with each other. So now the baby at a wall, at a standstill. It's all over the place, and it don't have to be. It is so easy to work with each other. It don't have to be. So a good parent, let me see. You were the one removed. Yeah, the damage is caused when you are removed. Yeah, whether you know it or not. Let's see. This is a thing that I do in the workshop. Think back when you first met your baby mama and your baby daddy. This was some of the people walk out the class. I know, but just humor me. I know you don't like them right now. You don't want to think about it, but think about what the qualities that made you like them, want to be with them, want to have a child with them, right? And then think about, upon having this baby, some of the characteristics that you wanted the child to take from that parent. I'll give you a minute. Think about both of them. Think about the qualities in that mate that attracted you to them, that what made you want to be with them, made you want to take that chance, leap of faith, give them the draws, however way you want to look at it. Write it down. Write down about 5, if you could think of 5. Then write down some of the characteristics that you wanted that child to take from that parent. I'll give you a second. Now look at your list. I guarantee you it's similar. Might be a couple of different ones of the qualities or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It might not be parent or traditional, you know what? As far as the characteristics and the qualities of both, you put them together, your list might be pretty much the same. Now, if you expect the child to get that from that parent, they can't if you take the parent out their life. Because, see, we don't think about that when we remove the parent. We don't think about how the baby is going to be, how the baby's going to turn out, how we wanted these certain qualities to get from this parent. So what you do, you try to replace them. You put other people around, other influences, and hopefully the baby will get it. And it's a 50-50 chance that the baby would. Yep, my sons didn't have their dads around, so therefore I had male role models around them to influence them, to help them, to guide them. Because a woman can't raise a boy to be a man. So I made sure I had positive influences around them that they can take from and learn from. They got some of it, you know, some of it got missed. But I guarantee you if they had their dads in their life, a lot of it they would have caught it, most of it. Yeah, because I, as a mother, would have sided with the dad when it came to things about them. You know, when it comes to raising children, it's best to let the mother take the lead of the daughter, and it's best to let the dad take the lead of the son. If anything cross-reference or goes awry because of whatever dynamic y'all have set up, just know that it's very important to take in the feedback and criticism and opinion of that parent as it pertains to that child. Meaning that whatever the dad say, take it in, mom. Whether you agree or disagree, y'all can discuss it later, but take it in at least and consider it because he knows best. Because he's a man, right? Same with you, dad. A man cannot raise a girl to be a woman, okay? So stop trying, stop competing. You just can't. You need the mama. You need the mama. So therefore, the mom suggests something, the mom says something, dad, follow the mother's lead. Don't challenge her too much. Don't go against her, right? So let's get back to the text. We got as far as that, looking at your list. Okay, you taking the parent out the child's life, 50-50 chance they're going to pick it up with the influence that you have. I was teaching my children about business and entrepreneurship. Just imagine all of them in the class together. Yeah. Now, the boys were a little more advanced because they had been cleaning with me ever since they were teenagers and they were younger. But the girls started picking up, and then by us being confined together, going to the buildings and cleaning together, the girls were exposed to the same education that the boys was. So just think that the girls was on the accelerated course. Let's just say that, because they were able to pick up faster, for one, because they were girls, I think. And then on top of that, they were placed in it. So the first experience they had in the cleaning was actually going to the schools to clean as a family. Right? So therefore, on the car rides there, on the car rides home, I'm briefing and I'm talking to the boys because I got to keep the boys up because the boys been in the business for a minute. I'm just giving you the backdrop. But the girls is learning at the same time. So let's go back. So I was teaching them about business, entrepreneurship. So we got as far as them learning the business. So therefore, what they all should know is the basics. They should all know about an EIN number. They should all know about a name and registering it. They all should know about the importance of having a bank account. They all should know about a DUNS number. All of them, right? They all should know how to start up a business. They all should know how to market it, how to promote it, how to gain clients, and how to spend the money. They may or may not know this next step. They may or may not know this, because now that I'm thinking about it, one child might know this, one child. Right. They may or may not know this, but these are the next steps when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, right? So they got as far as working the business. Because once we got those three contracts, we had the school in Westland, the school in Inkster, and we had the Birmingham Municipal Center. When I lost those contracts, it halted us for a minute. Right. It halted us for a minute. So the next steps that they would have learned was how to hire people, how to manage their employees, how to fire people, how to manage their books, how much money to spend on marketing, how much money to spend on labor, how much money to spend on materials, how much money they need to spend on bills and whatnot as it pertains to the business, right? So those were the next steps that were to follow. So we got as far as them working the business, lost the contracts. But by me explaining to them what was going on with us doing the subcontracting, they knew that I was going to cut them off eventually because I had discussed it with them. We wasn't getting enough money in. Something has to give. So if I cut them out and just go strictly to go get my contracts on my own under my own business, then we would have more money to spend. We would see a profit faster, right? So they understood this. The only thing is we lost the contracts before I was able to line up some other contracts to supplement that money that we was about to lose when I walked away from those subcontracts, right? So yeah, we end up something happened. I ain't about to go into it right now because that's a trigger for me. I ain't about to. But just know we lost the contracts versus me cutting them off and leaving, right? Unexpected. So now that you know how involved I had the children in the cleaning business as a parent so far, do you see a problem? Would you as a parent, would you be okay? Would you be on board with your baby mama, your baby daddy, having your child work with them in their business? Would you have any concerns? And it don't have to be my cleaning company. Think about your baby mama, your baby daddy. Think about the business that they're in. Think about them having a child around the business, whatever it is, working with them, teaching them a business. How do you feel as a parent? Are you okay with it? You on board with it? Are you supportive? Are you helping? Is it a business that y'all had when y'all were together? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. And if it is a business that y'all had when y'all were together, is there any reason why y'all still can't run the business now that y'all are broken up? I'm just asking because you got to think about the basis of why you probably started the business. I'm quite sure you probably started it for money, additional wealth, generational wealth, maybe lead to the children. I don't know. Whatever your reasons were for starting the business, now that y'all broken up, is there any way y'all can salvage and work together and still keep the business going? I'm just asking. Let me see, because I'm trying to see how I want to go. I hate when I be writing little stuff on the side, because if y'all baby mom, baby daddy do have a business, it's okay for you as a parent to have concerns. Yeah, I know you're looking at the big picture. Now that y'all not together no more, you probably seeing things. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I don't know, so you might have different thoughts. It might not be being bitter. It might not be you mad. It might be you have some legitimate concerns about this child working with this parent in the type of business that they are in. Well, whatever concerns you may have, because you should have some, because every business and every profession has them. With me, with the cleaning company, chemicals. Chemicals might be an issue. If we're not wearing the proper gear, you might get chemicals, you might get exposed to it, something can happen. So it's a legitimate complaint. They might have concerns with the youth program because the children enter to the jail. I take my children to the jail when we do the jail tour. That can be a concern for a parent. Yeah, I know. But those are the things that you talk about when y'all have y'all meetings or y'all daily or weekly conversations, which I hope that y'all have, because remember, y'all got to talk now that y'all are not together more than y'all did when y'all was, right? So whatever y'all have y'all conversations, if y'all have just a safe space where y'all have y'all meetings, those are things that you talk about. And then y'all compromise. Y'all come to a compromise. You might have some stipulations or something. You might have some, well, they can do it, but under these circumstances, or this can happen, but this got to take place, or maybe they got to wait till they get a certain age. Whatever it is, that's something that y'all need to discuss and come to terms with together, as far as that's concerned. Because the baby should be able to be a fixture in both of y'all lives and both of y'all households, right? My children, the baby was working with me on everything that I'm doing, with no hiccups, and still doing everything he wants to do. And not only was she still doing everything he wants her to do, but I was assisting in that. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. He had her in golf. I took her to practice. He had signed her up for cheerleader. I took her to practice. I attended cheerleading championships. I attended her golf outings. I had her involved in volleyball and basketball. I took her to practice for those. So it was like the things that I had her involved in, he really didn't come to the game. But I participated and helped with the things that, see how unbalanced that is? But me being a parent, I'm going to do what I got to do, right? Hey, Marion, how you doing? Nope, no problem with that. How you doing, baby? Good morning. Thanks for jumping in. Yep. And so, being unbalanced. Yeah, so after the baby left, nobody really cared about the cleaning. Nobody really helped. That's why you see me on the solo mission now. This is plan B. This is plan B. Yep. So was there anything wrong with me including the child in the business, teaching her business, having her clean with us? As a parent, outside looking in, do you think anything wrong with that? Because I studied other cultures and other people and how they get over and how they make it work and what they do, and this is what they do. They have a business, they start a business, and they usually use their children to build the business. If they bring them in, you'll see their kids stocking the shelves, or you'll see their kids at the cash register, or you even see their kids back in the back cooking. So, I've studied them and I see this is how they do it. And then next thing you know, years later, they got a bigger store or a bigger restaurant. They got their cousins working with them now. They brought them in and brought them over or whatever. So now they working. So now they building. So now they got two businesses. I saw this. Why we couldn't have it? Why I can't have that? Why me and my kids couldn't have that? Why we can't have a taste of that life? Why we can't do the same? But we can. And I proved it because we were doing it, right? For me to convince my children that the bigger picture was creating a business that they can profit from, they can build from, because see, the money that we would have generated from the cleaning company would be invested in the things that they wanted to do, right? The girls would have had a boutique. Right? Jeremy would have had his landscaping company and his mechanic service running. Yeah, Brandon would have a catering truck somewhere, if not a restaurant. Because that money that they would have generated from the cleaning company, they would have been able to invest in their business and what they wanted to do. It wasn't about all what I wanted them to do. This is just the start. This is just to get us going. Right? So, if my parenting wasn't interrupted, if the baby wasn't pulled out, I just would have went and got some contracts under my own company name. I wouldn't have subcontracted. And then we would have been back on task. Because after we would have worked the business for a minute, then I would have put them in position to hire people to work for them. And then they would have been in position to be able to manage their employees. And then I would teach them how to fire if need be. After you take certain steps, first, second, third, disciplinary actions, that would have been the discussion that we would have had in that process. Yep. So now, and then how to keep the books. How to manage the money that's being brought in, the profit that's brought in from this business, right? Hey, Doreen, how you doing, Auntie? Mwah. Right? So these would have continued on if my parenting wasn't interrupted, right? So now my teachings are scattered. It's whenever questions are asked, right? But the trick of that is, it's hard because they didn't have to ask me questions. It was like I volunteered information because I was teaching them something. So the way I was teaching them, it was a process. So you do this first, you do that first, you do this first, you do that first, you do this next, you do that. So it was steps that was being taught. So therefore, they didn't have to ask questions. So if you teaching the child in that manner and you are disconnected from them or you're no longer able to teach them, it's going to be hard for them to get a good footing sometimes because they don't even know what questions to ask. They don't even know what's the next step. They don't know. So only when asked, right? So example. Brandon, every time we go on to clean out or a paint job, by me teaching them that business, it's a separate. So I got to teach them how to charge, right? So by you knowing how much we getting paid off this job, and then at the end of the day, you get what you get. Brandon used to have a problem with that. I want half, Eddie. I want half, Eddie. Half. That was Brandon at every job, right? So it was nothing that I can do because remember, we missed some steps with the parents being interrupted because if the parent was not interrupted when we would have been doing these jobs, I would have been able to talk to him about counting people's pockets because it would have came up sooner and we would have been able to discuss, you don't count people's pockets. And then I would have been able to teach him the difference between being a boss and being an employee, right? So we didn't get to none of that. Because the parenting was interrupted, right? That would have came in with the hiring of the employees segment of my schooling, right? So he got us a job. He got a paint job. He was the boss, right? So for that whole day, he was the boss. Every time somebody would come to me with a question, ask the boss. He'll relay the message to me, right? So, and that's how it went. So he was in charge of the gas. He was in charge of the materials. He was in charge of paying me. He was in charge of lunch. He was in charge of all of that. So once the dollars came through and he got to calculating what he had to do and how he had to pay and take care of this and that, he understood why very well you cannot run a successful business paying people half. You can't. You can't do it because somebody got to cover the overhead, and usually it's the boss. So that day, he learned the difference between an employee and a boss, right? So someone has to teach your child after you've been taken out their life. Somebody got to pick up where you left off. Somebody has to. Because if not, it's hard for the baby. See, you want to make it easy for your kids, right? But if not, it's hard because for one, they might not know what questions to ask. Then who do they talk to? Who do they get the information from? How do they? And I only say that because the youngest that we talk about here has a business. Jesus. See, that's where the psychological damage come in at because whatever I was doing was working. It was a working system. It was right because at the end of the day, the child has a business. Now, who's teaching her how to run that business? Because I gave her all the fundamentals on how to get it started and how to have it. But now she got to figure out from other people how to keep it going. All the things that I would have taught her if my parenting was interrupted. So now you got to make all that make sense. And that's where the psychological damage come in at because there are no answers for that. You remove me from her life, but yet and still she's doing everything that I taught her to do. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. So now you see how a parent that has never failed a child can be removed. Now you can see the psychological damage that's caused by removing the parent. Now you see why your child needs mental health treatment after you've done this damage to this baby. Because you causing the damage. You causing the damage, right? If there is no abuse or neglect, you're causing the damage, right? Why would you remove? So have you had any concerns? Would you see why a dad would have a problem with this? Would you see why a parent would have a problem with this? Why they would remove a child from this type of environment? Why would they remove a parent that never failed them from? It's all personal. Yeah, that's why we teach forgiveness in the first workshop because it's all personal. Because if you find closure and if you forgive that person and if you move on from that relationship, There's no way y'all can't co-parent and work together. There's no way. I did it for 15 and a half years. Before she went to stay with him, we did it smoothly. Monday through Friday, I took her to school, dropped her off Friday, picked her up either from his house Sunday or from school Monday. After that was it. Every day, all the way up until she was about to go to the 11th grade when she went to go stay with him. You can't tell me that it doesn't work. So all that undoing, all that trying to break the system, all that shaking the foundation, all that's damage that you talk to your therapist about when you're sitting on the couch. Yeah, because all that is purposely done. To do all that damage, you got to purposely do it. You got to light the fuse. You got to build it. You got to set the timer. You got to destroy all of that. It's a lot of work that you got to put into to do that. So the same plan that I had to teach them about business and how I put it together and how it's the same plan that your baby mama and your baby daddy use and the steps that they take when they're trying to destroy you and remove you from that child's life. All those manipulation tips, they're meticulous with it. They know exactly what they're going to do. They know the triggers. They know how to set it up. They know when to use them. I'm telling you. So yeah, y'all need to work together. Find a way to work together. Sign up for my 8-week co-parenting course if you need help. And that's it for Coffee and Conversation. I know it was a long one, y'all, but it's Friday. I'm out. Mwah. I think that was TikTok. I'm out TikTok. Who is this? This Facebook. I'm out Facebook.